What's up, everybody? Old Guy 379 coming at you here from Biggs Junction, Oregon. So this video is in response to some comments from one of my videos here I did a couple weeks back called, "Are You Really a Professional Driver?" And apparently, many of you are very astute. You noticed I was actually recording while I was driving. Now, granted, I'm not going to disagree with you. That can be a problem, especially if you're putting more focus on what's going on with the camera than when you're driving. And while I am not in total disagreement that, yeah, there could be a problem with that, my focus was entirely on what's going on around me. If you'll notice when I was talking, there's quite a few times that I paused and kind of like now, I'm looking my truck over, just doing a quick stop here. My wife is waiting on her to come out of the restroom. But I can assure you at no time was I ever more focused on talking to you guys than what was going on around me. And I don't necessarily think making a video while you're driving is unprofessional. My phone was in a mount and not in my hand, out of reach. So, you know, that part right there, I think is a huge thing. And I guess what I want to address is, it seems that anytime we put a video out like that, whether it's me or, you know, Dave over at Smart Trucking when he was still around, anytime we pointed out something that we noticed somebody else doing, those same people have a tendency to come back and say, "Oh, well, you're doing this or you're doing that." Yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with that. And you're right. You know, there's a time for that and a time when you shouldn't be doing that. And there's my lovely wife. You know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to try to justify what I was doing. I'm going to continue to make videos, probably several of them while I'm driving. But again, I keep my phone on a mount. It's not in my hand. I don't like that. I don't like doing that. I don't like taking my focus off of what I'm doing. I'm, 33 years of doing this, like I've said before, and I'll just keep reiterating it. I've never had an accident other than the one in May where the guy rear-ended me while I was making a right-hand turn. We're still dealing with that. That's not something that's even done yet. So even though, I will say this, even though he was cited 2 different citations for distracted driving and careless driving, you know, they're still arguing from his end whose fault it was. We'll just leave it at that, you know. But I guess my question is, how many of you made those comments on my videos, and be honest, while you were driving? Because I've seen so many drivers going down the road with their phones or their iPads or whatever, watching a movie while they're driving. You know, and I've heard a lot of guys, I actually have a friend of mine that does that quite frequently, and I've talked to him about it. And I said, "Oh, well, I'm just listening to the sound." I'm like, you have the screen up in front of you. I find it hard to believe you're just listening to the sound. So that's my question with that is, did you make that comment while you were driving? Do you text and drive? That is something I absolutely refuse to do unless I can do it voice to text. I don't like reading text messages. I hate getting text messages when I'm going down the road, because then I'm tempted to read the message. We all have new enough phones, I think, that we got, text to voice and voice to text. I use that a lot. I use my headset when I'm on the phone. And if my headset is dead, I don't talk on the phone while I'm driving. I feel like that is probably one of the more dangerous things anybody could do. Have I done it? Yes. But it's not something that I do all the time. And having come back out on the road, since I've been back out here, I don't talk on the phone unless I have my headset. So that's a rule of mine. And even then, there's times when I'm on the phone and I'm like, hey, I got to pay attention to what I'm doing. So I'm going to get off the phone right now. But that's just, again, I'm not mad at anybody for pointing anything out. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your comments regardless, but it does seem kind of funny to me that the only negative comments I get is when I do a video and I'm pointing out things that I see after all these years as being unprofessional. And again, these videos are just my opinions and my observations. We don't have to agree on everything. That's the coolest thing about living in this awesome free land we live in. We're allowed to have our own opinions for the time being, till the wrong people get in power. We'll see what happens with this election cycle. That's the scary part of this whole thing, is what's going to happen. Yeah, that got me thinking about a lot of other things, but we have this great ability in our country, and under the First Amendment of free speech, to say and do things as long as it doesn't harm anybody else. But for me to have a differing opinion than you do, that's fine. That's how it is. That's the great thing about this nation, as I said. And it's the cool thing about driving a truck, is there are so many different ways to do things. Some may see it as right, some may see it as wrong. But anyway, that's all I have to say, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you, like I said, regardless of whether or not we agree. And just keep on trucking safe. Keep the shiny side up and the greasy side down. We'll catch you on the flip flop. See ya.